Hallo zusammen, willkommen zur heutigen Lektion and today we shall be looking at Lektion 21 and we shall be looking at Regeln im Satzbau, that is rules in sentence making. And I'll start by saying that in this lesson we shall be learning rules in sentence making, that is Regeln im Satzbau. I want us to go ahead and look at rules in making statement. And statement in Deutsch it is Aussage. And I will start with the rule, or rather the Regel. And Regel Nummer 1, the verb is always in the second position. So this means that the verb will always come in the second position. A Regel Nummer 2, time can come at the end or at the beginning. So this means that time, we can start the statement with time, or else we can end that statement also with time. Now, having looked at Regel, I want us to go ahead and look at sentence structure. And the sentence structure, when it comes to statement, we have subject plus verb plus time. As you can see, we are starting with the subject, then verb. Remember the rule was verb is always in the second position. That's why we have verb in the second position. Then we have time. And rule number 2, it was saying that time can come at the end or at the beginning. Now, as you can see in this sentence structure, time comes at the end. Times come am Ende. Now, when we look at structure Nummer 2, we have time plus verb plus subject. As you can see, now time comes in the first position. Verb will always be in the second position and subject come last. So verb will always stay in the second position. Time can vary. It can either come at the beginning or am Ende. For better understanding, I want us to go ahead and look at Beispiele, that is examples. And Beispiel Nummer 1, we have Ich bin Daniel. Ich bin Daniel. Ich bin Daniel. Ich is the subject, bin is the verb, and Daniel it's the noun. So we have Ich is the subject. Remember, verb always come in the second position. So Ich bin Daniel, I'm Daniel. Beispiel Nummer 2, we have Ich habe am Wochenende Zeit. Ich habe am Wochenende Zeit. Ich is the subject. Habe it's the verb. Am Wochenende it is the time. Then Zeit, we can also say it's the subject. So verb will always come in the second position, and time it can either come at the first position or am Ende. Am Wochenende habe ich Zeit. Am Wochenende habe ich Zeit. As you can see, we are starting with time now. Then verb follows, which is in the second position. Then the third position we have subject, then Zeit. Am Wochenende habe ich Zeit. On the weekend, I have time. Now, I want us to go ahead and look at rules in making yes or no question. That is Ja oder Nein Frage. And I'm going to start with Regel, that's the rule. And Regel Nummer 1, the verb come first. The verb come first. Remember in the statement, the verb was coming in the second position. Now in this case, for Ja oder Nein Frage, verbs comes first position, then followed by the subject. Then the other information follows, like time. So we start with the verb, then subject, then the other information like time. Now when you come and look at the sentence structure, that is that structure, as you can see, we are starting with the verben plus subject plus Zeit. That is we are starting with the verb, then followed by the subject, then end we have time or the other information. So remember here the key thing, we are always starting with the verb, then followed by the subject. Unlike the statement, which you are starting with the subject, or we are also starting with the time, but verb was always in the second position. But in this case, the verb come first. I have some Beispiele here for better understanding. And the first Beispiel is: Hast du am Wochenende Zeit? Hast du am Wochenende Zeit? As you can see, we are starting with the verb, then the subject, which is do. Am Wochenende is time, then the rest of the information. And the rest of information, it is Zeit. Hast du am Wochenende Zeit? Do you have time on the weekend? And the Antwort for that Frage is yes. Ich habe am Wochenende Zeit. Yes, I have time on weekend. So remember, the verb comes in the first position, then followed by the subject, then time. So verb, subject, then time, then the rest of the information. Hast du am Wochenende Zeit? Do you have time on the weekend? Yeah, ich habe am Wochenende Zeit. Yes, I have time on the weekend. The last thing which I want us to go and look at, it is the rules in making a W question, that is Fragen. And I'm going to start with the rule, or rather the Regel. And Regel Nummer 1, we have W word come first. And remember, the last lection, we were looking at the Fragen. And then verb comes second, then subject come third, then time or other information come after. So we start with the Fragen, then the verb, then the subject, then time or the other info comes after the subject. Now let us go ahead and look at the sentence structure or the that structure. Remember, we were starting with the Fragen or the V word, then plus verb plus subject plus Zeit. So we are starting with W word, followed by the verb, then followed by the subject, and end time or the other information. Now, having looked at the sentence structure, I want us to go ahead and look at Beispiel. And Beispiel here is: Wann hast du am Wochenende Zeit? Wann hast du am Wochenende Zeit? So, wann hast du am Wochenende Zeit? When do you have time on the weekend? As you can see, wann, it's the W word. Hast, it is the verb which comes in the second position. Do is the subject which comes in the third position. Am Wochenende follows, that is time, then the rest of the information. Now, having done that, that marks the end of today's lesson. And remember, today we were looking at rules in sentence making, and it's my hope that you have grasped something in today's lesson. Just like I've always said, spare like 5 minutes of your time, practice on the same, because practice make it perfect. And also don't forget to support this YouTube channel by subscribing, like the content, and share the content widely. That's all for this lesson. Let us meet in the next lesson. Tschüss, bis bald, bis morgen.